Today we're going to be talking about running confidence, mental strength and distracting the mind. But before I do, let's go for a run. Yes, so today we're going to be talking about running confidence, mental strength and distracting the mind. If we start with running confidence, I'll tell you about a story that kind of reflected that when I was younger. In my early teens, before I gave up, I used to run for the county a few times, like at the English schools, and I used to run against the same guys every week on my club races, and there was one guy who I used to beat regularly, and even 2 weeks before the English schools I think I beat him by over a minute in the cross country. But when it come to the English schools, he come 8th, I come 120th, and that was a pattern that I followed through my kind of short career when I was a teenager. I just didn't have the confidence, you know, going into the races. I was nervous, just didn't have much belief in myself, and I always put pressure on myself for the big events. So I believe confidence is key, and yes, it's a difficult one to just give yourself confidence, but I think that just comes down to obviously believing in yourself, the training, you know, calling on that when it comes into a race. You know that you put the work in, so you should be confident obviously going into a race. Also, I think setting realistic targets. I think like most of us, you know, we set unrealistic targets, whether it be a 5k or a 10k, and then we run it, miss our target by miles, get demotivated, hence lose your confidence. So it's something that is key, and once you work on it, whether in everyday life or running, you know, everything seems to improve. So talking of 5Ks, if we was to talk about mental toughness, so in the middle of a 5K, we all know that it's brutal. You know, you feel like you're going to give up, you can't carry on, but you know, you either push through it and you get a PB, or you give in and then just obviously, you know, stagger to the line. So the way I get over this mental toughness is in training. So if, say for instance, I'm having a hard session or a hard day and I'm struggling a little bit, then what I do is I just carry on at that pace for an extra mile, and that just builds, you know, that mental toughness, and something that I can call on in the race or part run or the race, because that's a race, isn't it? And then the last point is distracting the mind. So distracting the mind, I just saw some deers, I don't know if you can see them on camera, just running away in the distance. Wouldn't expect to see them. There we go. Right, back to the story. So distracting the mind like that, just distracting me. So some people do it with music, which obviously works very well. And I remember my first sub 25k a few years ago, I was listening to a rock track over and over again, and it just distracts the mind. You get into a rhythm, and you know, it's the same when you're driving a car. You listen to a fast track, you drive faster, and with running, you know, it distracts from this, you know, the breathing of me running up this slight hill. I also found yesterday that I was on a 10-mile run and running about 7:30 mile in, just running along, just thinking about day-to-day stuff. And I was thinking about that video that I posted about breathing properly, tips how you run further. And if you haven't watched it, I'll put a link up there or at the end of this video, because it will give some good tips. And I thought about the 4 breaths in to the 4 steps, 4 breaths out to the 4 steps. And once you've been doing that for a while, you don't count the steps. It's almost like a rhythm. So like a metronome, you know, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3. And once you find that rhythm, my pace dropped right off to 7-minute miling without me even realizing. But that's because I distracted the mind. I'm concentrating. I'm positive it's improving my form. I'm more relaxed. And you know, I think it's important sometimes to, you know, I know sometimes we go on runs and you just want to clear your mind for your mental health, but I think sometimes it's important to concentrate on the run and kind of just zone in, because once you think about running and you think about your, you know, your breathing, your heart rate, you can get it, you know, heart rate to drop by 5 beats per minute and you're going to run faster, you know, simple as that. So I hope you found these tips helpful. I'm going to go and finish my run off now, and I'll speak about that when I get back. So run done. Actually ended up coming to Ottershaw Park, where the park run is, which is hopefully coming back soon, but I will have to double check. So today just a few miles on the trails in the Wild Horse 6s and just having some fun really. You know, I love the trails. I almost like a treat, because most of my training is done on the roads. So it's always good to come to the trails, build, you know, leg strength, foot strength, and just have fun. You know, run on the road and sticking to paces. Yes, it's all well and good and has its place, but sometimes just miss, you know, that kind of just running and being free and, you know, as I say, just having fun. So great place to run. Didn't really see many people, and it's good to get a feel for the park run course again, because there's one hill called Achilles Hill, and when you're on your 3rd lap of that, I can see why it's called Achilles Hill, because you are burning afterwards. Anyway, I can't wait to get back here. As I say, it's a wonderful place, and I'm so lucky to have a place like this on my doorstep, and hopefully we can do park runs soon. So I've just got Molly to walk today. Probably going to be raining, but hopefully I'll beat the rain, and I will speak to you soon. Onwards and upwards. Cheers.